Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, February the 18th, race number 8 at Oaklawn Park. It's at Oaklawn. It's got to at least be 100 grander, and it is. It's an allowance race for 4-year-olds and up, and we're going 6 furlongs on the dirt as we take a look at this field, and you can download free Formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. When it's time to make your final decision, bet the race and the card with your DRF Bets account. I thought this was a really intriguing race, Mike, because you've got several horses taking gigantic steps up the class ladder. You've got several horses returning off gigantic layoffs, and you've got a couple of the top contenders coming off perfect trip wins.
Yeah, that's all those things are very true, Dan. I think it does add a lot of interest to this race. You know, you're talking about perfect trip wins, the morning line favorite, the number 7 AC Expressway. Man, that was a Joel Rosario special in his most recent start for him to get the job done. But that doesn't mean he can't come right back and win again, Dan. It feels like there's enough pace in here to set him up.
Now, one of the horses coming off of a lengthy layoff is Incorruptible. We want to see where he is on the Timeform US pace projector, because Timeform US believes this pace will be fast. It's going to be fast if Lockup is unrateable. Lockup is the main speed in this race. He is very, very fast. The question is he too fast for his own good at sometimes?
Yeah, he might be, but I do expect Lockup to make the early lead in here. He's just a really fast horse. He is also one of those horses that you were referencing in the open, Dan. He's off of a little bit of a layoff here. So we'll see how fresh he is. You know, as far as the one Incorruptible, you know, I guess I thought he ran fine last time. That was a very long layoff he was returning from. Steve Asmussen had him at that time, dropped him all the way in for 10. And he just got tired in the stretch of that race after showing some speed. I don't know. I suspect he could run better in here as he steps up off the claim, but he's obviously going to have to run better.
And let's watch the race Mike's talking about. This is Incorruptible first start off a year-plus layoff, dropping all the way down to the $10,000 level. And he was kind of forced to be a little bit closer to the pace than he was in his debut because the pace wasn't very fast. 47-2 for the half, and he just gets a little bit tired late. I think they're going to revert to the tactics that worked well for him in his debut way back in 2019. But I do have a question as to whether he's this good.
I mean, I do too, but he did earn a 76 buyer in that start at the end of 2019, his career debut. Now, he broke very, very slowly in that race, and that's why he was so far behind early. So who knows what his real running style is, but as you've already mentioned, that pace last time, it was not fast. He got a pretty good trip in there. He just got very tired in the last furlong.
As Mike mentioned, Lockup coming off a layoff, 6.5-month layoff. He ran on turf last time out. Draw a line for that. This is not a turf horse at all. His race 2 starts back on dirt. He went too fast for his own good in the early portion of that race. That was a live race. Produced a couple of next out winners. The runner-up came back to go right through his conditions at Ellis Park with buyers of 89 and 87. If he's returned as a more mature 4-year-old, maybe he bounces to the front, drops the anchor, and has plenty left at a price for Mr. Lucas.
I thought he was a pretty dangerous horse here just because he has so much speed. The only win so far is 1 for 12. That win, also going turf to dirt, you know, sprinting off of a little bit of that one was off a much shorter layoff, but he showed good speed that day and forgot to stop. I feel like he's dangerous just in that regard. I think he's going to get clear in here. I don't necessarily trust him to hold on at the end, though.
The horse coming back off even longer layoff is the 3, Majestic West. It's about 358 days since we've seen this horse. He was against some decent competition last winter at the fairgrounds, albeit around 2 turns. The runner-up of the last race came back to win a one other than there with an 85 buyer. It's worth noting that both of these wins for this horse have come around 2 turns, and I wonder if Phil Bauer's using this race as a stepping stone to something longer.
I wondered about that too, and it's one of the reasons that I didn't pick him in here. I just felt like he was probably going to take money, Dan, because he just has a series of figures that say he's going to be really competitive in here. It feels like they're running him in the right kind of a race. But I just thought maybe he would need one off the layoff. And I do feel like he's probably a little better going longer.
Similar pattern Asmussen used for Incorruptible and Safa's Day. Lengthy layoff, drop in class. Horse ran well. Let's watch Safa's Day. Tagged for the first time. He was offered for 50 in his first start off an April layoff. He caught a wet track. He got right up close to the pace. He's going to spurt clear late. The sixth place finisher would come back to earn an 80 buyer, but in a $30,000 non-winners of 2 life race. This horse does have tactical speed. He obviously likes Oaklawn Park. I want to see him do it against this tougher competition, but the last race was certainly a step in the right direction.
Yeah, he ran fine in that race. I didn't love him off the claim in this race, but we'll see. He's one of those horses who, because he's no longer with Asmussen, you might do a lot better than that 5-1 morning line. We'll see. That was a wet track last time. I don't think you have to worry about surface, though, Dan. He's run faster races over faster.
Really, the key to this race, in my opinion, is the number 5 Wayakin and what we're going to get off the layoff. We have not seen him since May the 29th, when he was in a very salty 1-turn mile allowance at Churchill Downs. The winner of that race came back to run third in the Dwyer, 86 buyer. Third place finisher came back to run third in a tough one other than at Saratoga, 92 buyer. And this horse ran very, very well to split those horses. He has won sprinting in the past. Fast workouts for Michael Maker.
I like all those things about him too. He is one of those horses that you have to concern yourself with the very long layoff in here. This horse really improved after Maker claimed him, though. His last 2 starts before that layoff, they were excellent performances. And if he can show up and run one of those, I mean, he's just going to be a handful in here. We'll see what he does.
Now, here's a horse eligible for a non-winners of 2 life event facing multiple winners, but he's sharp. It's the 6th League of Legends, and we'll go back to his race in January where he wins his maiden over Good Going. Maybe he was a wet track move up at 24-1 in this race, Mike, but I like the tactical speed he showed. He sits off the pace. He grinds them down. The runner-up came back to graduate in a special weight with an 81 buyer.
Yeah, that runner-up's not a bad horse either. This is a quality win. He got almost the same trip as the runner-up there. They were both sort of on the outside after the pace. This horse just, happened to outfinish that one at the end. I thought he ran well, and he's another one too, where I feel like you could probably project maybe one more forward move here. Dan, he was so lightly raced into that most recent start. He's another one who's endured a long layoff in his career, so he might just be finding himself now.
Mike, you mentioned the perfect trip and ride from Joel Rosario on our morning line favorite, the 7 AC Expressway, in his most recent race, and we're going to take a look at it. It's an Eclipse Award-worthy ride, and you see Joel, he wisely stayed in on the turn when he could have gotten outside. There was a fast pace in front of him. The rail opens up. He's now going to skip to the outside with AC Expressway, split horses here in the 2-path, and he's just gets it done. The ride was the difference.
Yeah, the ride made a big difference here, as did, as you mentioned, they were going in front of him. This was a contested pace out in front. Rosario sat it out, managed to save the ground. He wins easily at the end. Once he split, though, you could see how tired those leaders were at the end, Dan. Once he got through between them, the race was over. Great ride from Rosario, big step forward for this horse. Just because everything went so well for him last time, I'd be inclined not to bet him back as the favorite in here. But he could get a similar setup here. There's plenty of pace.
And he has a trainer that has been hot recently. Let's watch the formulator fact for Norm Cassie. Past 6 months, he gets these dirt sprinters good. They stay good. 4 for the last 4, $5.85 ROI, 87 buyer for AC Expressway's last win. He must step up out of the starter allowance ranks. Deflater is up next, and Deflater was no match for AC Expressway in the race we just saw. He finished 6th in that race. He was close to the fast pace, but he was kind of been stuck in this level for a long time now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was closer to the fast pace, but he wasn't right on it. And overall, his trip was pretty clean. He just wasn't really close to good enough. 2 starts back, was off the layoff. So I guess you could give him that excuse. He was part of the pace that day, finished well behind AC Expressway again. It just feels like this is a way tougher race then. And I don't see that one start, that one race that he has that makes me want to bet him in here.
Here's another horse coming off almost a year layoff. He goes out for a great trainer, Eclipse Award winner Brad Cox, two-time Eclipse Award winner. The 9 is Out of Sight, and Out of Sight won a maiden 2 starts back here at Oaklawn. He did not run well at all as the favorite in the one other than. He disappears. He shows up in the entries last month. He's listed as a vet scratch, and it took him over a month to get back into the entries again. When he's good, he has speed.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's going to necessarily help him in here, Dan. This may not be the kind of race where you want to be involved early. We'll see. I thought his maiden win 2 starts back the last time he was on a fast track. I mean, I thought he ran fine in there, but he also just didn't really have any trouble getting control of the pace in there. And it just feels like a totally different situation here. Listen, he's trained by Brad Cox. He's very lightly raced and could have more improvement left in him than anybody else in the field. But I would want a pretty big price if I was going to bet it.
Completing the field is a 5-time winner, the Oklahoma-bred number 10, Mesa Moon, coming off a 3rd-place effort in this race at Oaklawn Park on January the 22nd. You're going to notice that he's down towards the inside in here. He was chasing a fair pace. He has the run of the rails turning into the stretch, and he's going to run an even 3rd. His buyers are consistent. They run in the low 80s. I wonder if he does need a little bit of a forward boost because the pace is likely to be a little bit faster in this spot.
Yeah, I didn't like that about him. For the most part, he has won 5 times, which you can't knock. It's for the most part, that's against state-bred competition. I just didn't love his race last time. I suppose you could just say that it was a tougher spot than this one. I don't know. I just felt like he got a good trip and he didn't really do that much with it. I had a hard time warming up to him, but he could be a good price in this race, I guess.
Several different ways to go, several question marks in this race. We take a look at our top selection, and Mike and I land on the same runner, Wayakin. We trust Maker in this situation. He's run well sprinting in the past. He faced a good field last time out. He's working well. The question is, what price are we willing to take? Is 7-2 too light, considering he's been away a long time?
It's a long layoff. I wasn't that worried about that, Dan. I feel like 7-2 is probably actually a fair price on him versus this field. We'll see if he can come back running. Among him and the 9 Out of Sight, who's also off the long layoff, I just kind of preferred Wayakin. That's why I put him on top. I tried to get the 1 in there, Incorruptible, second off the long layoff.
That horse will make your exotics as he steps up in class. 5, 1, 9, 10 for Mike, 5, 7, 3, 10 for me. It's the DRF race of the day for Friday. Remember, you get free formulator pass performances when you sign up to DRF Bets.